My friends, good evening. I'm Mark Hyman from Greensboro, North Carolina. Welcome, welcome to the Viva Learning's podcast webinar, Change is Inevitable, Growth is Optional, Choosing Dentistry's Bright Future. As I said, I'm Mark Hyman from Greensboro. I'm an adjunct full professor and special assistant to the Office of the Dean at the UNC Adams School of Dentistry in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Had the privilege of 32 years of private practice, which I adored. And now I get to teach at the dental school and go around the country doing my seminars. Please do me a favor, kick your shoes off, mute your phone, and dig in with me as we talk about dentistry's bright future. My dear friends, imagine you're viewing a room with tall white walls. Dangling from a string is a banana. In that room with the tall white walls, you place 5 apes. After a few minutes, one of the apes is going to try to climb the ladder to get to the bananas. As soon as he touches the first step, you blast all 5 apes with ice cold water from the fire hose. You wait a few minutes. Another ape is going to try to climb the ladder. You blast all 5 apes with ice cold water from a fire hose. You wait a few minutes. You take out an original ape. You put a new ape in. He's going to try to climb the steps to get to that banana. What's going to happen? The other 4 apes are going to attack him. You take out another original ape, you put a new ape in, he's going to try to climb the steps to get to the banana, and the 4 apes attack him, including the one that was never hit by that ice cold water from the fire hose. My dear friends, you repeat this process day after week after month after year, over and over and over again, and never again will one of those apes climb those steps to get to that banana. Now, why is that? My friends, it's because that's the way it's always been around here. That's the way it's always been around here. Dr. Mark, you just don't understand. It just simply can't be done like that where I live. And my friends, I'm here to tell you it absolutely can be done like that where you live, because I did it in Greensboro, North Carolina for 32 years. And I know that you can do this in your private practices. When you look about what dentistry future, what is hitting us, you look at the words that come up: paradigm shifting, new patterns, media, marketing, evolving, technology, adapting, change, buzzwords, motivation. You don't even know where to start, do you? Because it just is kind of daunting. My goal, my hope, and my prayer for our time today is that the best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. I want to guide you and let you look at some different things, some ideas, some pearls, some equipment, some verbal skills that will help supercharge and fire up and liberate your practice so that you won't ever say that's the way it's always been around here, okay? So let's keep rocking. You may say to me, Dr. Mark, I just have one fishbowl, and it's the size, it's the way it is, it's the economy, it's the DSOs, it's the insurance companies, it's the PPOs, and I'm just here to tell you, you can keep swimming in that same fishbowl, or you can jump into a bigger one. You can choose your preferred future, and that's what I hope you really do. Again, you may say to me, Dr. Mark, I'm in the real world. It can't be done like that where I practice. And again, you may say to me, I'm not in Palm Beach, Palm Springs, Beverly Hills. Well, I was in Greensboro, North Carolina, where our 3 biggest employers were furniture, textiles, and tobacco. And we found a way to knock it out of the park and grow every year that I practiced. You may say to me, Dr. Mark, so when should I initiate change? I'm doing okay right now. Can't I just keep doing the same thing and get the same result? And the answer is no, you can't. Because change is inevitable. Growth is optional. Our dental world, our future is going, it's moving and changing and morphing so fast that you have to be ready to improvise and innovate and change. And I hope that you can do that. So the fact is, friends, you change or you die. So let's go forward. What just happened to our blessed profession? Man, COVID crushed dentistry, shut us down for a couple months. But the Top Gun dental practices that I work with, the practices that I know of, they're having the biggest year they've ever had this year. They found ways to innovate and to grow and to shift and to find a different way to care for patients during COVID. We're going to talk about some efficiencies as well as we go through our time today. You used to be able to be face-to-face, ear-to-ear, nose-to-nose with your patients. Now we're almost separated completely by all of the PPE and lucite and plastic and shrink wraps and everything that separates us from our patients. What else is happening besides COVID? Man, the great registration hit. Was estimated 11.5 million workers quit their jobs just during the spring of 2021. How did that impact dentistry? I hope your practices survived that and you kept your superstar teammates. And if you didn't, then it's time to get some better teammates and to enhance and grow and nurture the the ones that you have. If I were to ask you to write down in 1 or 2 words, what makes you unique? What is your unique selling proposition? And to live it out loud, loudly, and proudly, I hope that you can do that. To picture this black and white photo, this is a dance in Northern England, December 1961. 18 people attended. And you could say to me, Dr. Mark, well, that's just the way it is. Business isn't very good. The band must have not been very talented. And I agree with you. In December 1961, they probably weren't. But by February 1964, on the Ed Sullivan Show, 80 million Americans watched them, and they became the biggest thing ever in the history of music. So that was the Beatles. That's kind of striking, isn't it? There they are, December 1961. 2.5 years later, they're the hottest thing in the world. So how can we bring that back to our dental practices? I hope we can find a way. The bottom line, the most critical thing to me is that you have to have the right team. I started dental school in 1980 at the UNC Adams School of Dentistry. I graduated in 3.5 years, so we don't let you do that anymore because we want that last tuition payment. I went to Israel and worked as a volunteer dentist for 4 months, came back to UNC, did a 2-year oral medicine hospital dental residency, and then I bought a bankrupt practice July 1st, 1986. So this was my first dream team. The reality, so you can look at the hair here, you agree the 80s were not kind to hair. Susan, the woman on the left with the big necklace, she was my CDA superstar. She only stayed with me 8.5 years. My receptionist quit 6 weeks after I started. I fired the chain smoking hygienist, and I just was left with Susan. Then I hired redhead Cheryl with the glasses in the middle. She said, I'll give you 2 weeks. She stayed 14.5 years. And then Gina on the right, she said, I'll stay with you for a while. And she stayed 5 years. So she had a baby and moved back to California. But that was my first team, gang. And we grew and we grew and we had a whole lot of fun. We did some really cool dentistry. We could have a team meeting in my car, which changed a bit as we grew. And this was my season, man. We were undefeated. This was a season of the dream team. These women gave me such love and loyalty. It was simply unbelievable. The total amount of years that I worked for these women was over 150. Their average tenure in my practice was 15 years. My receptionist, Mary Catherine, second from the left, was with me almost 25 years. Far right redhead, Athena Escovedo Calloway, my CDA superstar, was only with me almost 20 years. So these women just were unbelievable for me. It's a striking number, friends. 7 out of 10 employees are moderately to fully disengaged. My dear friend Rich Schlentz wrote a book, Your Employees Have Quit. They just haven't left. Engagement in the workplace, it is so critical. So what can you do to engage your team and get them fired up? Here's an idea, particularly working with your hygienists. A lot of offices have struggled with their hygiene department, with their clinical team, with their business team overall. So how do we accelerate the entire dental team? You may say to me, Dr. Mark, does that mean putting on a crash helmet and just going faster and faster and seeing more patients? Not necessarily, but it absolutely means working smarter and more efficiently. One of the key things, doctors, that I want you to look at is your leadership. You may say to me, Dr. Mark, I want to just go in the room and do my dentistry. The fact is, with high-minded leadership, friends, if you are leading and no one is following, you're just taking a walk. If you are leading and no one is following, you are just taking a walk. So you have to lead. Sometimes that's from the front. Sometimes that's from the back. This is our Abbey Road moment as we're crossing the street. I think you'll agree this picture gets a little creepy when you see my head's cut off with the third teammate from the left. But where's Dr. Mark in this photo, gang? I'm in the back. This is us crossing the street doing our Abbey Road moment. This was our first take. The team and I were huddled around me. The light turned red, and I just looked at them and said, we're crossing the road, left foot forward, ready, break, and off they went. I didn't have to say, now line up, now everybody be quiet, now put your left foot forward. I just said, here's my vision, there's our preferred future, there's where success is. I see it, can you get me there? And the team took off, and that made me really proud. Here's an idea for next week for your team. Bring in turkey sandwiches and watch the video 212 degrees. At 211 degrees, water is just hot, but you add 1 degree, 1 degree more, then it becomes boiling water. Boiling water creates steam. Steam can power a locomotive engine. Think about the power of this, friends. If you could look at your teammates and say, will you give me 1 degree, 1%? Will every one of you give me just a little bit more? Will you stretch just a little bit higher? Will you dig in just a little deeper during our 8 hours tomorrow? We had turkey sandwiches on a Wednesday. We watched this video. I challenged my team. The next day, to my already crushed busy schedule, my teammates added $4,000 to my already busy schedule. 5 o'clock, I said, a quick team meeting, please. Let's huddle up. And the team was like, oh, we get to meet again. This one was a little different. I gathered the team around and I handed out Benjamins. And I don't know how many of you have done that for your team, and 520s did the same thing. But this one was different because I didn't say to the bottom left, Meredith, what did you do? What was your 1%, 1 degree stretch? But I said, Meredith, what'd you see Tiffany do? Tiffany cleaned my room when I was behind. Bang, I gave Tiffany 100. Tiff, what'd you see Lainey do? Lainey took my full series when I was behind. Bam, gave her 100. Lainey, what'd you see Lauren do? So I went around, not what did you do, but what did you see the team doing right? So much of American leadership to me is critical. Let me tell you about the 3 things you screwed up today, instead of the 97 things that you did really well. It's Carolina basketball season. I am a Tar Heel. I love my Tar Heels. Kind of tumbled from #1 in the country down a bit, but we'll be back. But Coach Dean Smith in the bottom left picture there, in his day, was the winningest college basketball coach of all time. I always wanted to play basketball for Coach Smith. The challenge, when you're 6 foot tall, Jewish with a 2-inch vertical jump, you're probably not playing college basketball. But Coach Smith started this in the 1960s. Have you seen a game when a player scores and turn in points? Coach Smith started that, and that's called you point to the assist man or woman and say thank you, because without the ball, you can't score. Coach Smith wanted to honor the passer, not the whoever did the Yamama slam dunk. So wouldn't that be cool? Coach Smith had 2 national championships. Coach Williams had 3. Coach UB Davis now, he's pointing to the assist man. We were 1 basket away from a championship last March. We'll see if we aren't back there again this coming year. So we'll see, well, how cool could that be if you brought that to your dental practices, pointing to the assist man and woman and saying thank you, catching your teammates doing things right instead of doing things wrong. Look what could happen to your leadership and to your success in the practice. It could really be something special. I think cross-training is imperative. That's one of the most critical, one of the most important things that you're going to do in your practice. Here we are in a sterilization area. We had all the business team members come in the back, and the business team members learned how to run the statum, how to load the autoclave, how to do a basic setup and a clean up of an operatory. We had all the business team members certified, X-ray certified, so they could take an emergency PA, emergency set of bite wings, and emergency CBCT. We had all the clinical team trained to come up to the business team and apply for care credit, to work with our Weave software, to take payments, to check in a new patient, to greet a new patient on the phone. They knew our systems and the questions that we would ask from a telephone answering slip. So I want you to think about that. Do you have cross-training in your office for the inevitable illness, COVID, childcare issue, holidays issues, vacations? Think about that. And if you're not cross-training yet, I want you to look at that as a huge opportunity to reinvent your practice going forward for your preferred future. In the great state of North Carolina, we can only have 2 hygienists per doctor. Welcome to 1950s. So what happens if one of your hygienists is out sick? So accelerated advanced hygiene, by law, our hygienists are only ones that can scale and probe, but your CDA superstars could use your DigiDoc intraoral camera, floss, polish, fluoride, post-op instructions, book the next appointment, take payments, talk about Sonocares, talk about tooth whitening with Zoom, do all of everything else. And then that frees the hygienist to just focus on what he or she, by license, is the only one that they could do. This is a really cool shot. This is a big CERAC CAD-CAM case that basically my 2 assistants are running. Dr. Mark's just walking around telling jokes, and they're doing all the work, because I would do the preparation and walk out of the room. And classically, again, our dental assistants would take it from there. We'll talk about that more. But they would pack the cord, do the scanning, design the CAD-CAM restorations, mill them, try them in, pre-cementation, radiograph, etch, bond, then call me back in. What a wonderful way to work. Friends, I want you to think about the packaging of your dentistry, the packaging of your product going forward. Are you telling a story of your success, of your excellence, of how cutting edge you are? Now, I would ask for a show of hands, but how many of you have gotten that blue box on the left? Do you know where that's from? That is a Tiffany's box, the blue box with the white ribbon. You look at the bag on the right. Now, the bag on the right could have a 3-carat diamond ring, and the blue box could have a dog biscuit in it. But I want you to just think about the possibilities, okay? Think about the possibilities of how patients are perceiving your practice, how you're dressed, your verbal skills, the cleanliness, the magazines, the music, the aroma, all the little details of the practice. Here's the team and I at a wedding boutique bridal show where we set up a little mini booth about our office, and look at the marketing, look at the logo, look at the colors, look at the elegance of that, if that speaks to you. Again, I want you to think about, how do you package your products? If I said to you, do you want any oranges? They're $3 a bag. How many would you buy? Versus if I said, oh my God, we have fresh, juicy Florida oranges picked a couple hours ago, just fell off the truck, and they're only $4 a bag. How many would you like? Look about the difference of how we describe our dentistry. What benefit statements are we discussing? Think about that, and how could we raise our game? How could we be more descriptive and reinforcing to what the patient's goals are for their health, their teeth, and their smile like that? I want you to think about how to grow your practice. Here's an idea. Several years ago, I paid $18,000 for those 5 tubs. Who thinks I'm a fool? If I could see you, I bet a bunch you'd raise your hands, and the wise men and women in the house today would say, Dr. Mark, what's in them? The fact is, that's Nick. He's an 82-year-old chain-smoking Greek immigrant dentist. He's my buddy from Dental Society, and Nick was going to retire, and that's what's left of his 42-year private practice. It was 180 charts. I paid him $100 a chart. So what's the first thing that you're going to do with those 180 people? You're going to schedule them, those 180 patients, for a 2-hour Pankey, Dawson, Coyce, Spear exam, mounted study models, occlusal adjustment, right? No, I don't think so. How about you're going to have a retirement party at the office to meet the team, and you break bread? That's the way you greet them and welcome them into the practice. And then you had the patients come in. Exactly what did Dr. Nick say that you wanted, that you needed to do next time? And he said, get my teeth cleaned. We had him in for a cleaning. I'd use my DigiDoc intro camera. I would show them one healthy tooth and one broken down schmutzy tooth. And they go, oh my God, that's not in my mouth. And I'd say, ma'am, it is. Would you do me a favor? How about coming back for no charge complete examination? And let's discuss what your goals are for your health, your teeth, and your smile. So out of the 180 patients, friends, I only saw 135 new patients out of that $18,000 purchase. I quit counting when we passed $800,000 of production. So one way you could jumpstart your practice is to look around your community and see, is there a senior doc in the community who's done magnificent, gentle care throughout the years and doesn't want to just close the shop and wants somebody good to take care of their patients? See if you could do that and the difference that could make. As you think about things, as you go forward, look about what the entire message, the packaging of the product, as you look at the message from your website, from the first phone call. Do you send a new patient packet? Is there something digital? Is it snail mail? What is your new patient experience? And again, that all 5 of these, to the message permeates throughout it. And is the message consistent, and is it cutting edge and excellent? And I hope that it is. You may say to me, Dr. Mark, okay, I got it. I'm just going to send emails to all my patients, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? Except look at that 97,000 unread emails. Oh my God. Oh my God. So what is another way about to solve that? So here, friends, I am not hawking product. Anything that I show you today, I paid for. Here's an example that I did: automated patient confirmation, automated patient communication systems. My business team members said this saved them an hour to an hour and a half a day, where you've got your schedule on your phone. You can text your patients. If you miss a phone call, it'll email your patients back to say, sorry, we're with another patient. We'll call you within the next 10 minutes. They can pay on their Android or Apple Pay. There's a lot of different systems: Sesame, Solution Reach, Dental Intel, Demand Force, Lighthouse. I'm not here hawking product. I work with several of those, and several were excellent. We've knocked it out of the park. So if you'd like to pick up a quick $50, do a demo. Call my buddy Adam, take a screenshot of this, and just say you heard Dr. Mark and you want a demo and see what Weave can do for you. We'll save your business team an hour and a half a day and probably only lead to a $100,000 increase in your practice. It's huge, unbelievable for what we could be doing. Let's keep rocking here. Going forward, 5-star reviews. When I left private practice, I had over 1,200 5-star reviews. If you don't have the 5-star reviews that you wish, what are you doing to earn them? Are you reaching out for them? Are you guiding your patients to show the appreciation? One of the things I would do right up front with new patients, if I ask, who may we thank for referring you? And they would say, well, I went online, saw you had 1,200 5-star reviews. Looks like you're really expensive, but really good. And I'd say, thank you. Would you do me a favor? If anything today isn't 5-star extraordinary, would you please tell me? And if today knocks your socks off, would you do me a favor, pick one special person in your life? Would you do that for me, please? And that can make a huge difference. The idea of a dedicated treatment coordinator. My coaches at Jameson Consulting pushed me to that, and I fought them over that. But having a teammate dedicated to your new patients, to the treatment planning, case presentation, follow-up, it's amazing. When I could, I would go out into the reception room to meet our new patients. And I'd say, hey, I'm Mark. Welcome home. We're going to take good care of you. And absolutely knock their socks off. Friends, this was my multi-million-dollar room. This was my multi-million-dollar room where every new patient, every emergency patient came in, and we sat and we talked and we went through 10 questions. Dr. Mark, the treatment coordinator, and the new patient. Please take a screenshot of this as you choose. And I would love to know what you think. How many of these questions are you asking? And the key with this is you don't know which of the 10 is the one that's going to push you over the finish line. So I used to say, if you're having trouble finding your way here to the office with Google Maps, that's kind of antiquated. So then I would say, who can we thank for referring you? Because there's a big distinction between you're part of my PPO, you have to see me, or Trung sent me to you and he said that you're the best. So who can we thank for referring you? 5 magic words are next. How can I help you? Mrs. Smith, how can I help you today? What brought you in today? She says, I hate my smile. The temptation is to say, well, that's because you have a diastema between 8 and 9 and class 2D2 laterals, and your mama dressed you funny and your teeth are Vita shade A17. Don't do that to people. Say, tell me more. What about your smile do you not like? Is it color? Is it size? Is it shape? And if she says it's color, size, and shape, you can say, how does that make you feel? Well, I don't smile for pictures. Well, do you have pictures coming up? We just passed Thanksgiving. Christmas, Hanukkah's coming up. New Year's is coming up. Is there an event in the family that you want your new smile for? What did your last dentist tell you? OMG, what a key question. I am stunned how few of my colleagues ask that question for someone who has just left another dental office. May I ask, why did you leave? And often you'll hear, because they were always pushing crowns. Many of my colleagues hate hearing that, and I loved hearing that because I would follow that up with, well, do you think you need one? And almost always I'd get, I don't know. And then I'd say, ma'am, if I see changes going on in your mouth, do I have your permission to tell you? And as soon as they say yes, it's supper time. It's a great time to be a dentist. Why now? What's the time frame? What brought you in? And why now? What's the urgency to act? Next, what are your long-term goals for your health, your teeth, and your smile? I'll say, Miss Smith, I'm not being smart with you, ma'am, but is it important that you keep your teeth the rest of your life? And if they say yes, but then they say they don't want scaling root planing, then I can say, help me understand. Your teeth are badly infected. You're pouring out pus and blood and guts, but you don't want this done. Help me understand that. Who else has input here? My wife's a nurse. All family healthcare decisions go through my lovely wife. I don't care. I just want to make sure you're presenting the treatment to the decision maker in the family. Do you have a budget in mind? That's patients say to me, money's a big deal, Dr. Mark. I want a gorgeous smile. I got $500. Great. Here's a tube of Day White and a Sonicare. That's about all you can do. I had a patient say, money's a big deal. I only have 20 or 30,000 to spend on this. I'm like, we can do that. When would you like to be finished? Help me, gang. Where's the insurance question? Where's the insurance question, gang? And there isn't one. There isn't one. So let's keep rocking. Take a screenshot of this if this speaks to you, please. I did a webinar with Jameson Consulting, and they put this on Facebook. So if it was on Facebook, it must be true. Where I said, when I stopped telling people what they needed and started listening to what they wanted, everything changed. If that speaks to you, friends, stop telling your patient you need to brush, you need to floss, you need a crown, and listen to what they want. Do you want to keep your teeth? Do you want fresher breath? Do you want whiter teeth? Do you want to avoid implants? Do you want to avoid a root canal? You guide me. How healthy do you want to get? How soon you want to get there? And that's a great way to work. So we had a separate consultation. We had a separate treatment coordinator room. That made a big impact as well, where we could sit and talk financial arrangements. Digital photography was huge in the practice, absolutely. This was one of the most infuriating moments of my career. Again, I hope you're not using a hand mirror with patients, but this little stoner dude came in and he had a huge cavity right into the pulp of tooth number 19. And I said, well, sir, if it's important that you keep this tooth the rest of your life, your cavity's gone into the nerve of the tooth. So we'd have a root canal procedure done to get out the infected nerve and blood vessel. And then we would secure the tooth with a crown. So he Googles, what are the signs of needing endodontic treatment? And he read through it and goes, yeah, I guess you're right. Man, I wanted to smack him. I absolutely was furious. Same with this guy with his narcissistic. It's just nuts. These 8 magic words my coach, Kathy Jameson, said to me 21 years ago, Dr. Mark, how do you create the sense of urgency? How do you create the sense of urgency? And this is the ticket. Again, I'm not hawking product. I had 8 operatories. We had 8 Digidoc intraoral cameras. We took a picture on every patient for every procedure before, during, and after. This is going to cost you about $17 a day for a year, guaranteed to add $100,000 a year to your practice. The Iris X80 liquid lens, it's the same quality photo as an SLR camera. It's simply unbelievable. I know, and again, I so appreciate your attention and time, my dear friends. There can't be anyone on this call, this webinar tonight, that has the verbal skills superior to this photo, to this illumination, the lume photo on the top left showing the cracks in the teeth, to the color photo showing the horizontal and vertical cracks through the teeth and the failed alloy. That is the most liberating way. And so you have a decision to make, my dear friends. If you said to me, Dr. Mark, I got 8 operatories, but I have 1 camera, we move it around from patient to patient. And the answer is no, you don't. You're not taking before, during, and after photos of every patient. There's no way. Please burn this photo into your psyche. Imagine how your business team will feel if you provided them a during photo of every tooth you prepped, just like this. And if our friends at Aetna tried to deny benefit for this, look at the cracks on the mesial, buccal, distal, lingual, going through the pulpal floor there. That during photo will set you free, I promise you. I've had people say to me, Dr. Mark, I can't get my hygienist to use the camera. And so the very simple solution is you look at your hygienist and say, I adore you. I appreciate you. As soon as you take 1 picture, I'll come check you. It's as simple as that. Now, back in the day when we redid our office in 2005, that was a Mac Daddy screen. That was a beautiful high-def screen. This is what people are used to looking at. So that is just a thought, is that you have a large screen on the wall that patients can really see changes that are going on, and you can do your imaging. This is my dental assistant's daughter, Haley. That was our screensaver on our monitor. So a patient would walk in and see Haley smile and say, I want that. And the answer is we can do that. How soon you want to be finished. SLR cameras, there's a lot of wonderful ones, Minolta, Konicas, and that is the Shofu, and that's just really cool. That is a tremendous opportunity. Weighs about 1 pound, costs a couple $1,000s, wonderful photo, but I really think the simple thing is a Digidoc in every operatory, and that is the mic drop ball game. with the DigiDoc gang. Check this out, 12 images in 2 minutes. Can you imagine the power of the next 6 months of your hygienist taking 2 minutes of every hygiene visit and accumulating this amount of data if you haven't been taking photographs regularly? If you do that starting tomorrow for the next 6 months, you will have $1 million of undone dentistry documented that you can go further with treatment. Digital case presentation that your treatment coordinator can work with you as well. Again, makes a huge, huge opportunity here to show before a possibility of the after, and then you deliver the dentistry. I want you to under-promise and over-deliver, and that will make a huge impact beyond the scope of today. But the idea of doing digital dentistry, digital mock-ups, when you can use your cone beam, your digital photography, your digital printing to just absolutely knock it out of the park with a presentation to your patients. Advanced hygiene products in the practice. Some people say to me, Dr. Mark, I don't want to sell products in my practice. And I think you will agree with me. There's no way that a patient can brush as well with a handheld manual toothbrush. So who are you going to suggest a power toothbrush like a Sonicare for? For us, that was every patient, anyone in orthodontics, anyone in Invisalign, anybody with dry mouth, any senior who didn't have the dexterity. So we had the convenience of having products in the office. One of the cool things going forward, if you look to the left, that's a new Philips Sonicare Power Flosser. That bad boy with its quad stream blasting, the quad stream nozzle blasting the 4 blasts of water to the patient. There's 4 numbers I want you to think about. That's 4 times quieter than its competitive product. It covers 9 times the surface area of the competitive product. It is 180% more effective than string flossing, and it removes 99.9% of the biofilm. It's simply unbelievable. The combination of a power flosser like this, and you're using your Philips Sonicare to get rid of the inflammation, to prevent recession. Your teeth are whiter because you've gotten the stain off the teeth. You've decreased the bleeding, the plaque, the calculus, and the whole mouth-body connection. It's just, you can't underestimate the benefit to your patients. There are wonderful other products, competitive products. Look at them, test drive them, try them, and see what you think. So let's do a case together, okay? This is Dale. She called me and said, Dr. Mark, I got a problem. I said, ma'am, how can I help you? And you look at that and I go, oh my God. Oh my God. Right? Now, when I show this, usually to a big audience, I get 1 of 4 responses. Usually the Byzantine members are on their knees hurling. The dental assistants are saying, well, at least she flosses. Look at the space between the teeth. Love you, assistants. Doctors, you're going, I could take a fine diamond, Dr. Mark, and prep those into veneers. She'd never know. Hygienist, what are you thinking? You're like, give me a Cavitron, baby. Look at that, tartar for days. There's sheet calculus. Friends, it was like a WWF cage match broke out in my office. The hygienists were pummeling each other, battling to see who was going to take turns bombing Dale. Each hygienist jumped in and did a quad. They just had the best time. Doing this type of dentistry, friends, you really change people's lives, don't you? Because that's your before. Are you ready for the after? I need a drum roll. Brrr, boom. How cool is that? Doing dentistry like that is just a joy, isn't it? Look how you change people's lives. So I appreciate that privilege. Going forward, again, how we look towards our future. Digital restorative dentistry. You may say to me, Dr. Mark, there's nothing wrong with analog, and I agree, there's nothing wrong with analog. But going forward, friends, we are in a digital world, and for the precision, for the perception of excellence and quality, I was the second CERAC user in the state of North Carolina back, I think, 1997. And the technology has skyrocketed from those days. Your labs are using their CERACs to make your restorations. So when you say, well, I wouldn't have that piece of junk in my office, well, that's what's making the teeth that you're getting back from the lab. It is worth the training time. What's key about this picture is, again, where's Dr. Mark? Because I had 2 CAD/CAM machines. I'd prep the teeth and walk out of the room, and the assistants would take it from there. Again, they would pack the cord, scan the case, design it, mill it, pre-cementation radiograph, check the flossing, check the occlusion, stain and glaze, sinter as needed, try it in, etch, bond, call me in for the cementation. So my total time, gang, for a CAD/CAM restoration, doctor only, was 30 minutes, and the team did the rest of the work. And that is a very efficient and effective way to take great care of your patients and have a tremendous level of efficiency and effectiveness and profitability. You may say to me, Dr. Mark, I'm not ready to go that far. Well, find your place in these choices as you look at go down the different steps of digital dentistry. You may only have your scanning unit, and that's okay. If you just have your Prime Scan, OmniCam, and then you send the scan to the connecting software, that can go to the Case Connect Center, and it can go to the in-lab software, to the Case Connect Center inbox, and go to a specialized partner. Or if you have the milling capability in your office, you can design with the CAD/CAM software, mill it, sinter it, stain and glaze as needed, deliver it, bam, and you're done. So different ways to work wherever you are on your digital journey. If you haven't tried it, try it and see what you can do, okay? Implant dentistry, wow. Everybody and their mother wants to do implants. Are they doing it well? I am worried down the road. I'm hearing at the 8 to 10 year mark, we are seeing a lot of implant failures. Most often, I think, because the case is not planned well, the surgery is not done to an exquisite fashion, the occlusion is not managed correctly, and cement is left when it's a cemented restoration. But with CEREC dentistry, you've got the capability to have a patient come in like the top left photo with a vertically split tooth, and you can do your scanning, your milling, you plan the case going forward, and it's amazing what you can do. What's going to be done in your future, friends, with 3D printing, making your own clear aligners, snore guards, occlusal guards, whitening trays, your own Snap-on smiles, your implant stents. It's just, there's no limit going forward to what's possibility. To make your own custom tray, we've got 2 sensational young prosthodontists at UNC that I teach with Dr. Ingeborg de Kock, Dr. Wendy Clark. They're teaching digital removable dentistry, digital dentures in 2 visits. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me what's coming up in the future. Innovative team training going forward. For me, dear friends, the most impactful thing inside of dentistry that I did was go to the Pankey Institute in Key Biscayne, Florida. That's Dr. Leanne Brady, the CEO, Chair of Education at Pankey. Absolutely changed my life. My time at Pankey, going out to Scottsdale to study at Spear Education and CDOCS. I had lunch with Pete Dawson and got to listen to Pete Dawson. I've heard John Coyce speak. Sensational thought leaders, wonderful, wonderful advancements in the profession. And if you hated dental school, you'll love studying at Pankey or Spear. Advancing your team to take them with you so that they can learn stain and glazing, designing, how to do advanced implant care. Just a wonderful way to energize and fire up your team. You may say to me, Dr. Mark, I can't take my team away that often. Just like tonight, I'm speaking to the choir. And again, I so appreciate Viva Learning and your attention and time tonight. Here's a Jameson Consulting that I was working with. That's Carrie Weber, who's the co-owner of Jameson now, where I was doing podcasts. You could set a goal to do one every month, and it would really help enhance your practice. Advanced caries detection and stain. What are we talking about? That's your DigiDoc. They have a proprietary attachment called the Lume, L-U-M, transillumination device. It costs a couple pennies a day. My dear friends, is there anybody on this podcast tonight, again, that has the verbal skills superior to this photo to show the patient, well, it's just a small occlusal amalgam, to show them the cracks coming out mesally, buccal, distally, lingually, all over. The tooth is vertically cracked left and right, and you can't show that with a 2-dimensional black and white radiograph. Friends, the next 2 photos, next 2 slides, I don't know the long-term answer here, but I want everybody to pay attention and heads up here. AI, artificial intelligence, is coming to dentistry like a tidal wave. There are several different companies. Pearl is one that I'm most aware of. Wonderful to work with. But now the dental insurance companies are using this software to scan your radiographs and to critique your work and to approve or disapprove your dentistry. DSOs, dental service organizations, Heartland, Aspen Coast, they're going to buy your practice. They're going to scan your radiographs and see how much undone work, how much redo work has to be done. With the pathology, bone loss, caries, marginal discrepancies, widened PDLs. You're going through this, looking at these photographs, bone loss. Oh my God, periapital lucencies, overhangs, decay, impacted teeth, furcations. You know, I spoke to the CEO of one of these companies and I said, well, this doesn't show facial and lingual. And they got all upset because they said, this is the future of dentistry. I'm like, this is the start. A three-dimensional scan will be our complete future. But I want you all to check out Pearl. It's a couple bucks a day. Demo it in your practice for 30 days and see what happens. I think you'll be stunned. The practices that are early adopters of this have seen their practices increase 6 figures. So for a couple dollars a day, it's time. I had 8 operatories, friend. I was an Isolite addict. Xyrus, the company that owns Isolite, they changed the name to Xyrus, but a 5-in-1 bite block, tongue retractor, cheek retractor, suction, LED light. I had 8 operatories. How many of these did I have, friends? I had 8. Who'd I use them on? Every patient, every procedure. The mouthpieces cost $2. It cuts the time to do a procedure 30 to 50%. Mouthpieces cost $2. We used them on everybody. Simply unbelievable. They now have an anterior Isolite, which is just world class. So let's do another case and let's put everything together that we've been learning, okay? So this is Zach. Zach comes to see me. Would you agree there's some dramatic changes going on in his mouth? You appreciate the rampant gross decay, 10, 11, 12, 13, 19, 20, 21, 22, all over. How are we going to pay for this? Care credit. We offered care credit for everybody. 1 year, we put almost over $400,000 on care credit because we offered it to everybody. Friends, it's almost December. If I asked you right now to within $10,000, what do you have in your practice open to buy? And if you look at me and say, Dr. Mark, I have no clue what you're talking about, text integration to this number, 714-492-1120. Open to buy, it's estimated that there is $12 billion, that's with a B, $12 billion of dentistry that's been approved for interest-free financing and not used in the dental profession. So I bet you almost everybody on this call has $100,000 open to buy in your practice, sitting there, interest-free financing that hasn't been used. What would happen if your business team member called everybody on that list tomorrow and only one patient came in for a $10,000 case before Christmas? Wouldn't that be unbelievable? Uveneer, I believe, was invented by an Australian orthodontist. This is really cool. These are pre-formed matrices. So you will pop in your Isolite, take your pictures with your DigiDoc. How many curing lights do you all use during an adhesive dental procedure if you're doing 4 teeth at a time? Most of you will say 1 light, and I'll say, why? And you'll say to me, Dr. Mark, because that's the way it's always been around here. But we used at least 2 lights with every patient. Because of the Isolite, your dental assistant is free to really run the case and get you more efficient and effective. Instead of just sit there, suck and spit and telling the patient, don't bite down, move your tongue, stop that. You pop in the little tooth pillow, the Isolite, and the assistant is free to really run the case and make you maximally efficient and effective. New dental materials coming up. Nobio has Infinix. It's a new restorative composite resin that leaches, it's antimicrobial. Simply unbelievable to prevent recurrent decay and infection at the tip, at the restoration tooth junction. So there's your before, there's your during prep. Usually in my practice, those would have been full crowns, this dramatic amount of decay, but you're going to etch and you're going to bond. And boom, that's 8 composites in 1 hour. Friends, if you did 8 multi-surface composites in an hour, would that be a good productivity for you? So again, using those Uveneers, the Isolite, the DigiDoc, you got the comfortable financials with Care Credit. You use multiple curing lights. It's amazing what you can generate. So that's pretty cool. Advances in local anesthesia. You may say to me, Dr. Mark, I'm really good with giving shots. And I'm like, you may well think you are. On Pharma, as a company is onset. The product is onset. The company is On Pharma, started by Dr. Mick Falkel, who's a dentist and a chemist from California. The fact is, friends, this is studied by Dr. Stanley Malamed, the god of dental anesthesia, dental local anesthesia. If you were using lidocaine or articaine, friends, at the 15-minute mark, you're only 67% effective with your mandibular block. When you're injecting with ice cold lidocaine, the pH, the acidity is 3.5. It's the same as lemon juice. It burns your patient. But if you buffer with Dr. Falkel's product, there's a two-way mixing pen. It pulls out 0.9 of lidocaine, shoots in 0.9 of liquid sodium bicarb. Then the pH of your lidocaine changes from 3.5, which is lemon juice, to 7.4, which is water. And your patient at the 90-second to 2-minute mark will be 71% numb. If you aren't even any good at giving your block at the 8-minute mark, you're at 100% numb. So this gives you the opportunity to seat, treat, complete. You can sit down, numb your patient, tell a bad joke, and you're off to the races. Time and motion study has been done with this. If you will use this on every patient, costs you $2 to $3 a patient, you'll get yourself an extra hour a day. This is a $100,000 increase in your practice in 12 months, if you trust me here. Competitive products like a Nutra have some good features, have some major problems, and please don't be cheap and homebrew it and try to guess the exact mix of liquid sodium bicarb and lidocaine to save $2, $3 a patient. Just trust the process and you'll be so efficient and effective, it'll be fun. Let's do another case. This is Viviane. She's from South America. She's separated from her husband, and her divorce, before it becomes final, her husband has to pay for her dentistry. So that's kind of cool. She comes to see me and says, I hate my smile. We're going to use a dental laser on Viviane. If you look at this smile, if you're not sure which way to go, one thing I try to teach my students at the UNC Adams School of Dentistry in Chapel Hill is just put some lines on the picture. Look at the crest of the tissue. The height of the gingival tissue should be the same on 6, 8, 9, and 11. Is it? No. The incisal edges of 6, 8, 9, and 11 should line up. Do they? No. So when you look at 8 and 9, if you fold them onto themselves, are they mirror images? And is the midline on, yes or no? No, it's not. So can you just simply recrown 8 and 9 and get a gorgeous smile? You can't do it. You see the failing composite on the incisal edge and the MIFL of number 7, class 2D2 tendency on number 10. We're going to use the NV Pro 3. That's a laser from the Denmat Corporation. That's your before. There's the after. What do you think, friends? Would you like to do more dentistry like this? I mean, what's stopping you? Brother Les Brown said the only thing stopping you from achieving your dreams and reaching your goals is wearing your shirt and your pants and your name tag. So let's go get it. Let's get dancing. And there's Viviane, and I love her smile and caring for her daughter, and life's pretty cool. Digital radiography is changing. If you are still dipping in X-ray tanks, God bless you. I'm respectful of that. The modern way to do dental radiography to me is to have a handheld X-ray. DigiDoc has the XTG, X-ray to go XTG with a guitar strap. Hygienists and assisting teammates report the time to do a full series has been cut 50%. There's new sensors as well by DigiDoc. It's blue, BLU. So again, these are opportunities, friends, with your intraoral cameras, with your buffering, with your multiple curing lights, with your isolites, with comfortable financials on Care Credit, with using the Uveneers, with using the X-ray where you don't have to use a wall unit. You can find yourself with 2 hours a day extra to work, which will skyrocket your profitability, cut your overhead, and dramatically increase your ability to take great care of your patients in a cutting-edge fashion. Beyond the scope of tonight as well, but wow, CBCT, it's becoming the standard of care. Anyone that's going to treat airway, TMJ, look at sinuses, consider orthodontics, consider doing your own implants. It's just an idea whose time has come, and the price is coming down decently. But to be able to look at a patient with missing body parts and pre-plan from where they're missing their teeth to their extraction, to their surgery, to bone graft, custom abutment, crown, delivery, it's just simply unbelievable the level of care we can now deliver. Tooth whitening remains, friends, the number one requested procedure in dentistry today. Are you asking every one of your patients, would you like your teeth white? I can't hear you. The number one requested procedure in dentistry today is tooth whitening. Are you asking all your patients, would you like your teeth white? Or if they have trays, would they like a touch-up kit? Do they want a white Christmas? We always did a 2-for-1 whitening for the mother, bride, and the bride and the groom, the whole wedding party. People have said to me, Dr. Mark, look at all that money you just lost. And I'm like, OMG, look at how much money you just made. It's one of the great thank you notes I ever got. Couldn't have done it without you. Satin and silver wedding dress, $, wedding at the Biltmore Estates, Asheville, North Carolina. $. Beautiful white smile, courtesy of Dr. H, priceless. So Philips has a lot of wonderful whitening, day white, night white, the zoom in office. You can scan your patient or take an impression and send it to Philips. They'll make the trays and send the trays and the material directly to your patient. So whitening in the office now is a one visit either way, whether you zoom them or you want to do trays, but this is a wonderful innovation. Please be sure that that's affordable. Consultants and advisors for me, working with Jameson Coaching changed my life out of Oklahoma. I got fired in 2005 after 19 years of private practice, and I had to go start my practice over, and I brought in Kathy Jameson Management. 12 months later, my $1 million practice had only increased 36%. Collections went up 36%. We collected what we produced. Production per day went up 44%. Hygiene went up 67% in 12 months, working fewer days per month. Because you all are part of Dr. Mark's family now, take a screenshot of that. Each and every one of you is entitled to a 1-hour complimentary discovery call from an executive from Jameson. Tell him you heard Dr. Mark, you're part of his family, you want to talk about your practices and see what solutions they may have. So they took my $1 million practice in 12 months, we increased 36%. At the 24-month mark, my $1 million practice was up only 52%. We went up over $500,000 in 24 months, working fewer days per month. My dear friends, I never once said to Jameson, make me more money. I just said, stop the chaos. Give me some predictable systems. And when they did, it was simply unbelievable. Inside of dentistry, friends, the most impactful thing that I ever did was go to the Pankey Institute and to Spear Education. Outside of dentistry was my time with the Dale Carnegie organization. That's my coach, hero, and dear friend, Mr. Nigel Alston from Dale Carnegie. The entire dental team was trained in Dale Carnegie training, how to win friends and influence people. I've had people say to me, Dr. Mark, I don't get it, man. Are you trying to tell me you spent $2,000 per teammate on Dale Carnegie training? What happens if you send them through Carnegie training and they left? And my answer was, what happened if you don't send them through Dale Carnegie training and they stay? So that was unbelievable. Again, we read a lot of books as an office. Success literature made a big difference in the practice. We worked really hard. Another innovation, orthodontic splints, sleep appliances, and beyond. Going forward, CAD/CAM generated aligners, the way that you can do your dental exams, set up in a staging, submit your patient's prescription, show them the before, during, and after of their orthodontics. It's simply unbelievable and a wonderful way to practice sleep dentistry. It's an idea whose time has come. Another idea for you, friends. What if you just had your hygienist the next 6 months take an shot with your DigiDoc on every patient, and you looked at the Mallampati score with a class 1 where you got a wide open airway, and a class 4, you got massive tonsils, macroglossia, and a uvula from here to Cleveland. The class 4s, you almost can guarantee there's a sleep issue because they've got no airway. Beyond the scope of tonight, but over 6 out of 10 of your patients with CPAP machines will not wear them. Over 9 out of 10 with a dental appliance will. So this is an idea whose time has come. My friends, you may never know the impact that you have on other people's lives. This is Luke. When I found out I was leaving private practice, I started taking selfies and photos with my longtime patients. Luke came to see me October 2017 and said, Dr. Mark, man, I'll never forget you. And I said, dude, I love you guys. I'll never forget you either. And I looked at him and he looked at me. And I looked at him and he looked at me and he said, you just don't remember, do you? And I was like, oh, golly, don't remember what? I said, I remember when you guys, you got married, you and Kimmy, I loved you all. I remember Kimmy pregnant with both of the girls. I started seeing you in 1986. Love you guys. You must be talking about when I got that CAD cam machine in 1997 and how cool that was. You got one of the first CAD cam restorations in the office. He goes, no, that wasn't it. It's about 2005 when I came in and told you I just left Baptist Hospital in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where they told me I had an inoperable brain tumor and to get my affairs in order. And he said, you got mad, you ran out of the room, you called your professor at Chapel Hill, you called Duke Neurosurgery, you got me in there for an immediate appointment. I had my surgery. I lived. I healed. I got to see the girls graduate high school and college. I got to walk my daughter down the aisle. I got to do the daddy-daughter dance, and now I'm a grandpa, and he's crying and I'm crying and we're hugging. And it just was one of the greatest things in my life, my dear friends. It is truly what you learn after you know it all that counts. As I was taking these selfies, I love these photos. The common thread, the common theme of this picture is everybody in these photos were patients of mine for over 30 years, and I love it, particularly this picture, because that's Robin. Robin was a nurse, patient of mine since 1986, adored her. She came to see me. She said, you know, and she had terminal cancer. Her husband brought her in. One of her final wishes were to come see Dr. Mark and the team. And everybody's crying and hugging on her. And she handed me this note. Hope everything you've been looking forward to brings you even more happiness than you ever dreamed possible. I have so much enjoyed being your patient. You are the best dentist ever. Have a wonderful retirement. Love, Robin. I said, Robin, when I met you, man, you were so pretty, I couldn't even examine you. You were just the hottest thing in the practice. And she said, when I came in for my exams, I couldn't even look at you. You were the most handsome thing I'd ever seen. And we're laughing and we're hugging and we're crying. And it just was really amazing. And a couple of days later, she died. My dear friends, the idea of change, for the timid, change is frightening. For the comfortable, change is threatening. But for the confident, change means opportunity. You have an opportunity to make a profound difference in your patients' lives. You just got to really dig in, dig deep, pay attention to these principles. If you do, my friends, change is inevitable, growth is optional, but your future will be so bright you have to wear shades. I so appreciate your attention and time today. Thank you very much. We're going to go into question and answers, please. Who's got the first question, please? Type it in. Question is, will this be available on demand to share? And I believe Trung from Viva Learning will give you the answer of that in a moment.
Yes, the recording will be available tomorrow.
So the recording will be available. And again, I hope you enjoyed this. And who's got the next question, please? Sayed, no question, but you brought tears to my eyes. God bless you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate that. What helped you consistently convince patients the need that they need comprehensive care? So I try not to convince patients of anything. I tried to take that in relationship time right at the beginning to say, tell me, ma'am, why are you here? How healthy do you want to be? What are your goals? You guide me. Vakla, when you ask that question, you don't tackle people at Walmart. They walked into our dental office. So that's where I tried so hard to say, you tell me, what are you here for? Help me understand. Why'd you leave your last dentist? What are your goals? Let's use our DigiDoc camera. Let's celebrate what looks good. Look at this tooth here on number 29. The enamel is gorgeous. It's perfect. Way to go. Look at number 30. Wow. However, look at these lines. Tell me what you see. Look at the size of this mercury filling. Can you see this line? And that made a big difference. Carol asked, what's the first thing I would say when entering the operatory? We had a morning huddle morning meeting where I knew something about the patient, something personal. And so usually, again, the last thing in the world I would do is talk about teeth. I would always take off my mask. With COVID, that kind of changed some things, but I would take off my mask, sit down with the patient, usually give them a hug, poke them in the shoulder, and try to find something fun, nice, upbeat to talk about. If it was something that was important to their life, about their family, about their work, about their sports interest, art, music, whatever that I knew about them. And usually it was just, I tried to compliment them. And often I'd say, there are 200 some dentists in Greensboro, and you picked me, man. Every time I see you, you honor me. Thanks for coming in. Carol, I hope that helps. Brother Robert, magnificent presentation, inspired. God bless you. So appreciate you all. That's, you just made my day. Allie, say thank you. Practice the way your dad did for 40 years. Honored to work with him and still work the same practice today. Allison, way to go. What a gift to do our type of dentistry, isn't it? It's absolutely a joy. Again, I so appreciate that. So who's got the next question, please? Janelle, how'd you convince your team members to act as a team? Any team building exercises you recommend? Absolutely. First of all, Janelle, you tell me, if you start seeing patients at 8:00, can you stroll in at 5 till 8 or 10 after 8, smoking a doobie, saying, are y'all working hard? I was always the first one in the office and the last to leave. Every morning when a teammate would walk in, I would stand up and greet them. We were a huggy office that may not fit your style, but I would try to say something nice to every teammate. Every morning before I left for lunch, I'd go to each teammate and say, you need anything, everything good? I try to point out something they did that morning that was impressive, or I saw them help someone else out, or Miss Smith said, you were awesome today. Then I'd come back from lunch before they leave, because I was the last one to leave the office. I would try to say something nice to every one of them. And that just really, that made a big difference. Eddie Booth, always great outlook. Thanks for the panky push years ago. You're too kind, Ed. I miss you, bud. We ought to get a lunch. Ed's a colleague of mine in Greensboro. Friends, I put in the thread there. I tried to, my email and my Trong, did that show up? My email and my cell phone. For those of you, anyone that has a question, has something, Janelle, thank you very much, and so appreciate you all. My website is www.drmarkspeaks.com. If anybody would like to bring this message to your dental society, if anybody would like to bring this to your state dental meeting, it would be my privilege. If I can help anybody, my cell phone is 336-456-6728. I so am honored and appreciate the privilege to influence. As I said, I love teaching at the dental school at Chapel Hill. We got a brand new dean. The schools are just exploding. I'm on the admissions committee. We had 1,700 initial applicants for 82 spots. The school's just on fire. And doing this type of dentistry is a joy. When you educate yourself and you educate your team, you set a philosophy, what you will and will not stand for, and you hire a group of like-minded men and women to help you achieve your goal professionally. And that's what I hope for you all. Who's got the last question, please? Anybody? So appreciate these comments. You warm my heart. If I can help anybody in any fashion, again, www.drmarkspeaks. Cell phone 336-456-6728. And I wish you all just joy and a peaceful, safe holiday season for you and your family and friends, and a glorious dental career. I so appreciate Viva Learning putting their faith in me for these webinars, and I hope we'll get to do some more next year. My dear friends, take good care, and thanks for your attention and time. Good night.